So at the age of 75, God calls Abram out of his father's house. And it's interesting because Abram, eventually his name is changed to Abraham, which probably sounds a lot more familiar. But, pre Genesis chapter 17, you've got to remember to call Abram and not Abraham, which is going to be a struggle because I am going to go through the book of Genesis very soon on my third channel. I'm not sure what it's called, but you can go into my bio and look at it, and it should be there. And on that channel, I'm going to go through the whole Bible one chapter at a time. I'm probably going to start that this summer. But in today's video, we're going to be going over the story of Abraham, or Abram, doesn't really matter. And I think it's an amazing story because it's in a story of a man who goes on an adventure, and a crazy one at that. So we can start at the very beginning. God calls Abram out of his father's house, and it's interesting because he's 75 years old. So he has already lived a life that should have been fulfilling. He should have already accomplished many things in his life. But as we can see with the events that take place after this, Abram is not a very competent man. He struggles a lot. He doesn't really know how to handle his marriage, I would say. He doesn't know how to be a good leader. I think that he learns this along the way, and he does make major progress. Major progress, so much in fact that his name gets changed and his wife's name also gets changed, although her two names mean the same thing. Abram means exalted father, and Abraham means father of many descendants, basically. And the difference between Abram and Abraham is that he is getting both. So he's going to be exalted because, of course, he's still remembered today, probably 3,000 to 4,000 years later. And father of many descendants, the nation of Israel, the Israelites, the Jews, are still a people today. So that's probably billions and billions, if not trillions of people that have come from one man, basically. And so God has indeed fulfilled his promises to him. And so he made his name great, and he made him many offspring. So that's the very beginning of Abraham's journey. And then he goes into the land that the Israelites are going to enter into, the promised land. He goes there originally, and there's a whole story on how they get out of that land and go to Egypt, and then they get enslaved, and then they come all the way back. I made a video on that. It was probably uploaded before this, but if not, it's going to be uploaded right after this. And it is the story of the Israelites. So you have Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jacob, just like Abraham's name got changed, his name gets changed to Israel, and so all of his descendants are called the Israelites. And so that's how you get there. And so Abraham, he goes to this promised land, but there's a famine in the land, and so he has to go to Egypt, and he goes to an Egyptian pharaoh. But before that, he tells his wife to lie about being his husband because he fears that the Egyptian pharaoh is going to take his wife, Sarai at the time, becomes Sarah, and take her and kill him because, how else are they supposed to get married to the wife if the man's still there? So they're just going to kill him and take his wife. And so he's like, for my sake, just lie and say that you're my sister, which is kind of true. He was his half sister, I think, on maybe the mother's side. I don't really know. But basically he lies, and then I think the next chapter is where he goes to war. He lies, he goes to war, he has a child at 90 years old. No, he was 100. He was 99 years old, I think. No, he was 86 years old. And then he goes and lies to a pharaoh again. I think there was another famine that happened also. So he goes on all of these adventures. And again, I think that the story actually happened, but I also think that we can be Abraham in this sense. We can go on our own adventure of life, no matter how old we are. Because again, Abraham started the adventure of his life. He started the section of his life that we remember most when he was 75 years old. I mean, today, whenever you think of a 75-year-old man, you think that guy's already accomplished everything that he wanted to accomplish in life. He's got like nothing more to do. But Abraham started then. It's like the complete opposite. He lived his life opposite. So no matter how old you are, I mean, if you're 40 years old and you've wasted the past 40 years of your life, maybe, playing video games, just doing whatever, there's still time to go on the adventure of your life. And no matter how old you are, even if you've got like 5 days left of your life, if the doctors told you that you've got a week left to live, you can still go on an adventure, or even just try to live the life that you should have lived or should live in the future. And the reason that you should do this is because the opposite of that is a sad and depressing life. So in the same way that God has called Abraham to go on these many adventures and live the life that God has called him to live, he also calls us to live a similar life, going on adventures and following God and having faith, which will be counted to us as righteousness.